Murph or Murphy, 35, USA. I'm the team leader for RONIN team. We're a sniper and reconnaissance group here in the Legion. Grew up in the UK, most of my family's British, and then we moved to America pretty early on. I lived in the Pacific Northwest, so I had a really outdoorsy kind of childhood. Was always outside, camping, going hiking with my family and stuff. And I think that kind of just pushed me in the direction of seeking adventure in life. And so ever since an early age, I was always really obsessed with the military and from all different countries. And so yeah, once I got out of high school, just immediately joined the military. And yeah, did a tour in Afghanistan in the early 2000s. And yeah, I went over in 2009, 2010 to Afghan with my unit. It was a pretty busy time there still. There was a lot going on. So we were working along the Pakistan border area, had a lot of operations out there. It was a pretty good deployment, spent about a year there. And yeah, probably one of the most exciting times of my life. I saw what was happening here, and I mean, I've always been pretty interested in Eastern Europe. I grew up playing the Stalker video games and stuff. So I was always really interested in the region. And then being ex-military, kind of always keep tabs on all the conflicts and the wars going on in the world. So as soon as stuff started happening here, I was watching it in the news, all the buildup of Russian troops and stuff. It was pretty obvious that wasn't normal kind of behavior. And then when the war started, saw a lot of the things that were happening to the civilian population, that this is supposed to be a military operation, but Russia just consistently targets the civilian population as a means of inflicting terror and panic. And that stuff just really struck a chord with me. It doesn't sit right with me at all. And then when the call went out, when Zelensky was asking for, professionally trained soldiers with certain skills to come over, I just happened to fall in that category. And as far as my professional life back in America, I didn't really have a ton going on at the time. I've always been interested in getting back into this kind of work. And so I just saw it as a fantastic opportunity to help and fight for a good cause and do some work that actually meant something to me and make a difference, and then also fulfill my own kind of needs in life of doing this as a career. I mean, this is a true near-peer war. It's not just spots of terrorism occurring somewhere like so many wars are nowadays. It's not a ragtag group of people on one side fighting a superpower on the other. This is two modern countries fighting each other. Ukraine has a super modern arsenal now, and Russia has a lot of manpower and quite a lot of modern equipment as well. So this is a war like the world hasn't seen in an incredibly long time. Oh yeah, it's strong. I believe that Ukrainians kind of have like a warrior culture to them. I think as Ukrainian history has been conflict after conflict, even from the Middle Ages. So I think that's something that people have embraced. Something that really amazed me when I came over to Ukraine was how quickly the entire country and population back to the military and became very military oriented and adopted that as part of their culture. You see civilians in Kyiv who just like wearing military clothing and gear. It's affected all the facets of life. And in the fight, Ukrainian men are strong, they're really brave, and they do the most important thing when it comes to soldiers is they look out for the dudes on their left and their right, which I think is one of those big differences between our forces and the Russian forces. Russians will just leave their guys for dead, or they'll execute their own wounded men, which is insanity to me. But that's not something you'll ever see happening on the Ukrainian side. The Ukrainians don't leave their guys behind. They, and if their boys are hurt, they get them out. And that's something that resonates a lot with me because it's the same values in the Western military. Specifically for me, Russia, very much so, yeah. And it's just reinforced constantly that they are the, absolutely, I mean, there is no arguing that they're the aggressor in this war. They started this, but they have taken friends from me now, people who came over here to help out, be it even civilians who are working for NGOs and guys who were in the military working over here. I've had a lot of my friends die in this war, so it might have been something that I came over and started as a less personal thing that I'm not Ukrainian, you know? So a lot of people will say, hey, Murray, like, oh, fuck, hey, Murphy, this isn't your war. But now it is, very much so, because I've been here long enough and I've lost enough close friends that it's become personal. I don't want to say it's like freedom and democracy, but it's that idea that Ukrainians just want to get on and live their lives. They want to be a modern country and they want to do what Ukraine wants to do. They don't want to have Russia just be under the heel of Russia and do what Russia's telling them to do all the time. They don't want to be part of another country, or they don't want to be part of the former glorious USSR again. Ukraine wants to be its own thing and be a free country, and that's what I'm here for. To pay attention. Pay really close attention to what's happening out here. There's, you know, hotspots are popping up all over the world, but the lessons that are being learned in Ukraine and the battlefield tactics, the logistics operations that are happening here, how the battlefield is supplied, even down to things like drone warfare and stuff. There are lessons being learned on the daily, and there are new things being developed constantly here. So any militaries that aren't paying very, very close attention to what's happening here, analyzing it and incorporating those techniques and learned lessons into their military, they're going to be behind the curve when it comes to future warfare. Yeah, I have a couple rifles, but this is my primary rifle. It's a DDM-4. I think it's the Gen 2. I could be wrong on that, but it's got the updated RAS rail or wrist rail system on it. It's really slim. It's super lightweight, super accurate out to, you know, 500, 600 meters. I can push it further with the right optics and stuff on it. Yeah, this rifle is my baby. It works really well for me. I also have an AR-10 made by Shytac that I use pretty frequently. Anytime we go out on sniper missions, and if I'm working as a spotter or a sniper team leader on that, then I'll take that gun out so I can reach out a bit further. I'm a really big fan of the Ukrainian Z10, developed by some Ukrainian snipers, I believe. I've had the opportunity to work with that quite a bit. It's very similar to my AR-10, but it's a fantastic rifle. Works really, really well, can reach out really, really far, super accurate, reliable. It's a good weapon. Yeah, for me and my team, it would be 338 Lapua Magnum, because we can shoot so damn far with it, long distance, but that's just because that's a personal bias, because that's how we work. I gotta say that as much as I hate them, FPV drones are a fantastic tool. I hate them because they get used against us all the time, but they are very much the face of new modern warfare. It allows you to reach out super far, touch your enemy without exposing guys to significant harm or danger, which is incredibly valuable to us because we don't have the manpower that Russia has. Every single life counts out here. We can't afford to just throw dudes away. So being able to inflict casualties on the enemy while protecting our forces is fantastic, and drone warfare is very, very good at that. I joined the Legion in June of 2022. Yeah, so a couple years ago now. Right when Severodonetsk was happening, all that stuff there. Had a buddy of mine that I'd met out here. We talked about working together a few times, and then he called me up one day and was like, hey, you want to go do war with me? And I was like, yeah, where are we going? And then I got a train back to Kyiv from where I was working at the time, signed the documents, and then the next day I was headed out to Kramatorsk. I'd done some training, like working training, TDF forces around the country with some buddies of mine. Had the opportunity to interact with a few units, but hadn't really found a unit that had Westerners that really had the same values and the same discipline and determination that I was looking for. And then that buddy of mine that called me up and asked if I wanted to work with him, he is a very, very skilled, proficient soldier, and it was a great opportunity for me to work with him and the group of guys that he was working with at the time. Everybody on that team was a better soldier than I was, so it was like, okay, I'm going to get the opportunity to learn a lot from these guys, and I think we're going to get some really, really good work done. Everybody here is really well bonded. We all come from different countries, different backgrounds, but we're here united by a common cause. And I think everybody's just kind of gets on with the work, and you know, that soldier camaraderie that, like, it doesn't matter where you're from or what your background is. Like, if we're shoulder to shoulder in a trench somewhere, we're gonna look out for each other, and I think that brings everyone together in a big way. Yeah, I mean, we've got some wild stories. Just some of my favorite times though are coming back after missions. You know, we worked down in Kherson during the counteroffensive there. I think in the fall of 22, that was just before winter, and like the late summer, I guess it would have been. We were down there working, and you know, we came back from some missions out in that area, and we lived at a little just like farmhouse at the time, and it would be kind of, some of my best memories are just dudes sneaking off and like everybody sitting down for a smoke and kind of nobody talking, and then after a while some dudes would just be like, that was some crazy shit, huh? Like, just yeah, it was. But some of the stuff, you know, the guys get to when they're bored out there is pretty funny too. I don't want to go into too much detail just without embarrassing some guys, but you know, dudes making bets about going on missions. You know, hey, if you can run this lap faster than I can, then that you got to go on the next mission naked and shit like that. Yeah, guys find funny ways to entertain themselves out here, that's for sure. I mean, I choose that word just because there is, you know, they always say there's rules to warfare, but this is one of those ones where that idea, you can see it goes out the window on a daily basis. I mean, the recent attack on the children's hospital is a great example of that, like, okay, if we were fighting a civilized enemy that actually was compassionate and cared about human lives, was about what they said they were about, things like that wouldn't happen. And the warfare that you see on the zero line up at the flot is really brutal. You know, the just general disregard for human life that people who have been, you know, guys in their 40s, 50s who have lived an entire life are just treated like they are just meat, and that's a terrifying and horrifying thing to see. And yeah, some of the intensity of the conflict out here is pretty wild. I mean, it's that saying that man-made horror is beyond my comprehension. It's really true. The Legion is diverse. Diverse is a good word, I think, for the Legion. There's so many people here from so many different backgrounds, and I think our diversity is one of the things that's our greatest strength, is that I learned things in the US military that I can teach guys. There's dudes from England who learn different things. There's guys from, you know, Japan, Korea, Africa, all over the world. All these different countries have come together, and they've all lived unique lives, and so now they're bringing that experience, and I'm learning new things on a daily basis. I'm constantly learning things from my Ukrainian counterparts, and I'm constantly teaching them things too. So I think that diversity and that variety in the way we work is one of our greatest strengths.